Good evening. This is the Huntley Community School District 158 regular board meeting on May 19th. It is 6:04. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Gentry.
Here.
Mr. Guerin.
Here.
Mr. Troy.
Here.
Mr. Quagliano.
Here.
Mrs. Melendi.
Here.
Mrs. Maiorino. Mr. Craddy.
Okay, we have a quorum. Next item is, I'll make a motion to go into closed session at 6:04. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Melendi. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Quagliano.
Yes.
Mr. Craddy. Mrs. Melendi.
Yes.
Mr. Guerin.
Yes.
Mr. Gentry.
Yes.
Mr. Troy.
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino.
Okay, we'll be in closed session for approximately the next hour. Thank you.
I don't know.
How are you now?
But legally, you had to do
Oh, Julie, what is special about, what are we celebrating?
Sometimes I do when the heads up like that.
Yeah, because they're, that's what it is.
I would like to put July 1st, 2026 for the Panera pool.
trying
I
to
saw
have a little
that.
fun with
I
that.
know. I thought it was hysterical.
The whole thing's just so.
I know. It's
such a-
gotten so ridiculous at this
Why,
point.
why not turn it into something good, though?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thanks.
And there's live stream in there. So the live stream, the actual open session was there. Feel free to get up and do live stream, whatever. How are you? Yes. I didn't know what. Thank you, everyone, who's in the ladder. Right here, Dan, Danny. Danny, water, right here. Karen.
few minutes so that we could get some of our parents in for the upcoming student recognition. So we are back in open session. It is 7:12. Can we have roll call, please?
Mrs. Maiorino. Here. Mr. Craddy. Mr. Troy.
Here.
Mrs. Melendi.
Here.
Mr. Garin.
Here.
Mr. Gentry.
Here.
Mr. Quagliano.
Here. Okay, there is no action out of closed session, so the next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. Coming to the microphone, we have Senior Ellie Armstrong. She's here to be recognized for a few things tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I'm going to have her step to the mic and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There you go. Far away. Go ahead, Don.
Interesting to go to.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're moving right into student recognition.
So Ellie Armstrong was selected as a winner of the National Merit Scholarship for National Merit National Distillers Distributors Foundation. Of the 1.5 million entrants in about 5 or 50,000 of them are the highest in PSAT, NMSQT selection index scores, and that's how National Merit kind of determines it's based off of their PSAT, NMSQT scores. In early September, more than 2/3, which is about 34,000 of the 50,000 of those highest scores received letters of commendation. In late September, there were 16,000 students, which is one third of the 50,000. In February, 15,000 were semifinalists. And in March, they began naming the finalists. And they notified 7,500, again, out of the largest number of 1.5 million to be a finalist. And our very own Ellie Armstrong received a $2,500 scholarship to be used towards college and was named a finalist for National Merit. So, Ellie, I'm going to have you come on up. So you will see Ellie a lot over the next couple of days in the graduation, but Ellie will be attending Duke University and will be majoring in public policy with a human rights certificate and minoring in Spanish and global studies. I tried to make sure I can run all the way through that sentence, because that was a whole lot. But Ellie was also recently admitted into the Ethics, Leadership, and Global Citizenship Focus program and is currently pursuing a career in humanitarian aid and relief. My goodness. I just want to let you know that Huntley is so proud of you and your accomplishments. I know we will talk a little bit more about that later on today, as well as on graduation day on Saturday. But ladies and gentlemen, Ellie Armstrong.
Congratulations. Thank you. Picture, Elliot. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna snap a couple.
Not a white paper there. Enough back there. Yeah.
Awesome, perfect, congratulations.
Mr. Faulkner.
Here.
Wrestler, yeah, Mr. Faulkner.
you for having us tonight and celebrating our two amazing, awesome wrestling student athletes. And I'm going to turn it over to Coach Jin Sticky so he can do the honors. Coach.
Thank you. Good evening. First off, thanks for the opportunity to speak on behalf of both Presley Morrison and Lucas Bittman. If I can get them to come up. You know, there's nothing I really couldn't say about one that wouldn't apply to the other. And first and foremost, they're both outstanding students, great representative of Heineman wrestling in the classroom. And in the wrestling room, they both display tremendous work ethics. They're very passionate about wrestling, very coachable, just great kids and great teammates and great role models. So I'll first talk about Lucas. He wrestled 155 pounds for us. He finished with a 25-6 record. He was second in conference, second at regionals, third at sectionals, and he wrestled all the way to a sixth place finish at the state tournament. So we have Lucas, and now we have Preston Morrison. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, buddy. A few more of them.
Oh, congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, come on up front.
No, Coach. Well, where's Coach?
Tiny little bit, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheer is next. Cheer is next. Yeah. Cheer. I wonder who that Hey, Renee.
We're gonna have to have him come up around there. There's gonna be a lot of them, yeah. Stop it. This is Doc. Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Keep going.
I told them they couldn't stunt when they came in. They were ready to do backflips and all kinds of stuff.
Low ceiling.
I'm going to call the coaching team or the coaching staff up to kind of talk a little bit about the accolades of this team. But one of the things that I will tell you is watching their journey through a pandemic, after a pandemic, and still being able to go down to state and perform at the level that they have done speaks tremendous volumes about this group of cheerleaders. I'm excited for their future and what many of them are getting ready to go off to do. But I know that the legacy that they are leaving here at Huntley High School is, there's some big shoes to fill. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super proud of the work that you have done, from traveling back and forth up and down the I-39 to Bloomington and watching your success in the snow.
Our bus hitting a pole.
Let's not.
Now's a good time to build.
Yes, they did make it, and again, just people wait for Huntley to take the floor. And from our coaching staff who loves on our young people so much, it is amazing just to see the work that they go through every single day in the field house. And our coaching staff, if you all can come up, I'm going to turn it over to our head coach, Renee Fowler.
Thank you. We weren't gonna say anything about the bus accident. I felt so bad for that guy. I told them that I wasn't gonna say a lot because I tend to cry when I'm gonna say things, and see, it happens. And saying goodbye to this group of cheerleaders is going to be one of the hardest things I do, and saying goodbye to the sport. I've coached here for 10 years, and I loved every minute of it, and I couldn't have done it without my coaches, Coach Carriato, Coach Hanson, and Coach Hen, who now I'm going to make them cry too. This group has been just awesome to coach. They work so hard. They're so dedicated to this crazy sport. We literally do cheer nonstop. Don't make me cry over there. And we truly, truly do love each other, which is one of the reasons why we keep coming back, even though sometimes and some days it's hard, right? But I know they're going to continue to do great things. We podiums back to back. Third place co-ed, and then we're like, let's try it again in all girls. So then we went back and got third place all girls varsity, and really they just know how to perform, and they make you fall in love when you look at them on the floor, and I am just so proud of them. Anything you guys want to say? All right, and also one last thing, parents, thank you. I love you guys. Go back. You are.
Should I get a lie? You know what I mean? Huh? It's like, come on, Scott. You know what? First and last. Let me see it now. I have so many. Oh my God, you're going to say you might go and
you missing soon?
Yes, we are. Thank you. We like company?
Come on.
Hold on. Okay.
You guys go stay on behalf of the team. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, Tim. We love you.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Nice meeting. Love you.
Sorry, I don't know the backstory here. Maybe later.
We have one more round.
We have one over.
I've got 2 bottles already.
This one up here.
Yeah, I'm good.
We have another group. Oh, yeah.
Better hurry. That's why I said you gotta hurry. You're gonna have to hold it the whole time.
No. I'm not gonna do that.
It's a lot of hardware.
We left the U-Haul truck of the other awards in the high school, but, so journalism is here, and for a second time, we saw them, last year as well. And I'm not gonna get into the accolades, but, when we talk about the publications, that take place, that come out of the high school, out into our community, but also into our nation, we have a journalism team that is recognized and prides themselves in the national recognition, that they receive, not just the state. There are students who are going off to do amazing things here in just a couple of days, and their dedication to the work that happens, weekends, days off of school, they are committed to the work of putting out publications that tell the story of Huntley High School, and tell the story from a student's perspective. And I just appreciate the work that you all do. There's a lot of work that goes into it. You all have, we've seen some barriers, some challenges, right, in the student body this year, but I just want you to know that you are valued and the work that you put out is genuine work, and it is appreciated. I'm going to call up your 2 sponsors of journalism, Mr. Brown and Ms. Teeter, to talk a little bit more about the accolades that they have received.
So, here we are again. Wait, it's good. Lauren Teeter and I are very happy to be back to show you our 2nd consecutive IHSA state championship trophy, the 3rd Huntley High School has ever won. This is the first time a team has won back-to-back state journalism titles in the entire history of this tournament.
This all started on April 9th when the journalism team won their 11th sectional championship with 93 points and advanced nearly every competitor to the state finals. Individual sectional winners included, if you would wave when I read your name, please, Ellie Armstrong, first place, copy editing. Alexis Cobb, first place, photo storytelling. Lauren Courtney, first place, yearbook copywriting. Sarah Gebka, first place, editorial cartooning. Jesse Gaughan, first place, review writing. Jake Hable, Andrew Spade, and Taylor Casey, first place, video news. Chase Keller, first place, sports writing. Maggie Kerwin, first place, infographics. Abby Paneer, first place, newspaper design. Kylie Pomasak, first place, yearbook layout. Natalie Vonderhyde, first place, feature writing. Kate Alvarado, second place, broadcast news. Eli Constanosis and Karen Rizal, second place for yearbook theme. Ashley Foster, third place, yearbook caption writing. Amelia Posniak, third place, editorial writing. Megan Curry, third place, news writing. Nikki Darnell, fourth place, advertising. And JC Sola, fourth place for headline writing. So, 2 weeks later, the team got on the bus and traveled to Normal for the state finals at Heartland Community College. Going into the competition, we were pretty confident given what happened at the sectional, but honestly, there was a time during the award ceremony at the end of the day when things were in doubt. Scoring at these tournaments is all about points. If a student places first, you get 6 points. You finish second, you get 5 points, all the way down to sixth place, where you get 1 point. After hearing the results of the first 15 of 18 events, our team was doing okay with 13 points, but we were far from the lead. Our winners at that point included Nikki Darnell, state champion, advertising. Alexis Cobb, third place, photo storytelling. Chase Keller, sixth place, sports writing. Abby Paneer, sixth place, newspaper design. And Amelia Posniak, sixth place, editorial writing. So we were in the middle of the pack, behind the leaders, Fremd and Edwardsville, who had 25 points. Again, we had 13. But then the last 3 events were announced, and those changed everything. I'll let Ms. Peter tell you what happened.
Well written.
The last 3 events to be announced were all yearbook events. Yearbook copy, yearbook layout design, and yearbook theme. In yearbook copy, senior Lauren Courtney won the state championship. 6 points for Huntley High School. In yearbook layout design, Kylie Pomasak won the state championship. 6 more points for Huntley High School. In yearbook theme development, Ella Hansenosis and Karen Rizal won the state championship. Once again, 6 more points for Huntley High School. In roughly 8 minutes, we went from the middle of the pack to winning our second team championship, passing Edwardsville, and finishing with 31 points. For journalism, this is about as dramatic as things get. Could not have been happier with the results. With Nikki, Kylie, Lauren, Ella, and Karen winning individual state championships, it brings Huntley High School's total to 16 since 2006. The Meridian High School advisor tweeted the next day, and I thought it was super cute. She said, "One of the cutest moments of my day was watching my staff fangirl over the Huntley staff. We have only competed for a few years and are a small school, so seeing such a large, talented staff had them in awe." And I think I can speak on behalf of both Brown and myself, that we're also fangirls of all of these kids. And to echo Mr. Brown earlier, not only have you made Huntley history, but you've made IHSA history. You're the coolest, literally. So on our way home, Dr. Phelan made a point of making sure that the team got a police and fire department escort, and it was fantastic. So cool. Seeing parents and people out on the town square made this championship that much more special. As always, none of this could happen without the support of Dr. Phelan and the administration at HHS, Dr. Rowe and the administration here at the district office, and you all, the members of the Board of Education. Working in a district as supportive as ours gives us an advantage that few programs have, and we're so grateful
for all that you have done for us. And we're so happy to reward that support and trust by bringing this second championship back to HHS. And who knows, maybe next year a three-peat. So thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Thank you. Great job. Congratulations. Thank Nice to meet you in person finally. Now I'm going to go to the street. You all come on. Congratulations. You want to see some front? I hate to call it, so I'm going to go.
Okay, I was like,
In the middle's gotta hold it. Congrats again, guys. Three? Yes. Thank you. Absolutely. Congratulations, guys. Thank you. Proud of you. All right. You never really. You're too young. But there's recognition.
I just put some.
Good, thank you. I will have. I'll keep them.
Gave up their seat, I want to make sure everybody, that's right.
I think a couple might have.
There might be some. We're
I
done.
think some have.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody gave up their seat.
No, I think we're okay. So thank you though.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That one?
No, again, thank you. I'm gonna drown.
Well, if you take it, you drink it.
Okay, done with student recognition, we've already done the pledge, so we're gonna move on to public comment. Again, thank you to all the HESPA members who gave up their seats to allow our parents to be able to witness their, children be acknowledged for their awards, so thank you very much for doing that. We're gonna start off, again, rules of, public comment, in case you haven't been here before. You get 3 minutes, we'll time it. I'll try and be polite when you hit 3 minutes to let you know that, if you could wrap up your comments, that would be great. So if you could limit it to that 3-minute mark, we have plenty of them tonight. So we'll start off with, Donna Owensby. You drew the straw.
Good evening. I'm Donna Owensby, in case you didn't hear when you said my name. I'm speaking as an individual. I'm a media aide at Conley Elementary. 29 years ago, my family and I moved to Algonquin. At that time, District 158 had 2 schools, north and south. As time went on, we were part of the growth of the district. My daughters went to each campus as the district grew. I was always impressed with the teachers and the staff. Their dedication and support has always exceeded my expectations. 20 years ago, I became a staff member of the district. During this time, I have seen how every staff member is an integral part of the puzzle. Without any of us, a piece would be missing and the puzzle would not be complete. We all need to value and respect each other. We all work together doing things that are not within our job description, knowing that if we don't help each other out, the puzzle will not be complete. During my time with the district, my hours have been cut from 8 to 7 hours a day. We have taken 2 pay freezes to help the district out. That's what dedicated employees do to help to keep the other puzzle pieces together. Everyone has their own story as to why they're here, but most important thing is that we respect each other. I can say that I feel respected every day from the administration in my building and my coworkers. I am truly grateful for them and will always go above and beyond to help keep the piece of our puzzle together. Unfortunately, that respect is not felt from above them. The district has saved hundreds of thousands of dollars with our pay freezes, but has done nothing to compensate us for that. It's time that you recognize how valuable our piece of the puzzle is and pay us what we deserve. Until you actually step up and show us how much we are appreciated, our puzzle will not be complete. Actions speak louder than words. And if you want us all to choose happy, please show us the respect and compensation that we deserve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Donna, for being here tonight. Okay, I got a Gwen. I don't have a last name for Gwen. Gwen, I'm gonna need your last name though.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Gwen Taylor, and I'll be reading a letter on behalf of an individual of whom this letter represents my concern as well. I concur wholeheartedly. To whom it may concern, I've been a special education teacher in District 158 for 13 years. During that time, I've worked with wonderful teaching assistants in several different capacities. While I've always understood the critical need of having quality teaching assistants in our schools, that was never more clear than during the pandemic. All of a sudden, an all hands on deck mentality was needed, and their hands were stretched far too thin. Like special education teachers, teaching assistants wear many hats. They provide academic support through accommodation in the classroom and on assessments. They provide behavioral and social emotional support. They're often the first to intervene when a student is struggling, the first to notice when something is wrong, and some of the strongest advocates I've ever met. Over the years, my job as an instructional teacher, resource teacher, and case manager could not have been done well without their support. It is critical that HESPA get a fair and generous contract in order to retain and attract more members. Our teachers need them. Our students deserve them. Please show your support, appreciation, commitment to the members of HESPA by giving them their contract that they deserve. Submitted on behalf of Amanda Lindsay, Mr. Mark Christmas as well. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Gwen. I want to point out, I don't have a problem with reading somebody else's stuff, and that's fine. You named her. Again, public comments are supposed to be your own. Again, I'm okay with reading others, but, public comment is supposed to be your public comment. And I understand some people sometimes can't get here. Okay, if you're going to name that person, that I think that's fine. But I don't want anybody coming up with any unnamed readings. It should be of their own public comments. So next to speak would be Joy McFadden.
Good evening, I am Joy McFadden, and I'm reading this letter on behalf of another individual. My name is Abby Colantonio, and I am one of the self-contained special education teachers in Huntley High School District 158. I work in the self-contained SES program at McCaven Elementary School. This is a program for students who have social, emotional, and behavioral needs at the kindergarten through second grade level. I am writing in support of HESPA on behalf of the women who are vital components to this self-contained program. Students in this program have various needs, but they all struggle being successful in school on their own. Some students have had adverse life experiences that have made schooling more difficult to cope with, while others have mental health difficulties that they've been diagnosed with. My job is to teach those students regulation strategies and life skills in order to be successful throughout their academic career. This program is the beginning of their schooling experience, and success here sets up success for the rest of their life. My job is impossible without HESPA. These women provide academic modifications, regulation strategies, implement reward systems, and reinforce behavior every minute of every day. They are constantly problem solving, trying to help each student find success every day. They help students access the general education setting with their peers. Students are able to learn alongside their peers, socially and academically. This happens day in and day out. When students have challenges, they support them and remind students they are cared for. Without them, I would be unable to support my students. My goal for students is for them to not need me. I hope that they grow, learn, and can be successful independently. I am unable to help them reach that goal without the paraprofessionals in my program. Our Sane and Huntley Special Services Department is all students, always. We are not able to do that without paraprofessionals and without HESPA. Thank you for your time. Abby Colantonio.
Thank you, Brandy. Joyce, I'm sorry. Joyce. Now we're going to talk with Brandy Lorenzo.
Evening. I am speaking as an individual on behalf of a certified staff member, and that is Kathy Murphy, OT at McCaven. Dear Board of Education, I am writing this letter to express my concern about the multiple open positions posted for teacher assistants, teacher aides, and one-on-ones throughout this district. Many positions have remained unfilled for more than a year. We have had meetings where we would want to obtain a one-on-one, but know that if we submit the request, we would most likely not get the personnel due to the overwhelming amount of needs and positions currently posted. Our special education students need and depend on the services these employees provide. Paraprofessionals assist regular education teachers, special education teachers, and related services. Staff is having to go outside of their normal responsibilities in an attempt to meet these students' needs. Without these necessary paraprofessionals, our students are not able to meet their potential. I personally work closely and devise many teacher aides and one-on-ones to ensure that specific skills and techniques are being followed with fidelity. I could not expect a teacher to implement a dozen or more supports and accommodations these employees are able to provide. Not being able to retain current staff or not having these positions filled due to the inadequate hourly rates these employees get from the district is having a detrimental effect on students. Some of our students depend on a consistent person to assist them throughout their day. Students are able to build a rapport with these individuals. Not being able to retain our current paraprofessionals, including one-on-ones, and having multiple people trying to sub or piecemeal these positions can cause anxiety, escalated behaviors, confusion, and turmoil for these students. How many students want multiple people changing their diapers, assisting them in the bathroom, and/or feeding them. It is shameful that our district pays less for our very valuable employees than Walmart, Target, Costco, McDonald's, and other companies. This is not equitable across other districts, nor is it meeting the needs of all students always. It would be highly beneficial to be able to provide a competitive hourly rate where we can retain our invaluable employees while obtaining new staff for the posted positions. This would allow HR to pick and choose who would be the best candidates and meet the needs of these students rather than accept anyone who applies because the district is so desperate for these positions to be fulfilled. If multiple positions have been posted for an extended amount of time and are still not fulfilled, doesn't that raise a flag that there may be a reason for this, and what does Board of Education want to address it to ensure that our neediest students are provided for? If it is difficult to retain people in these positions and multiple people leave throughout the school year, does that raise an alarm? Raising the hourly rates for these positions could have such a positive impact, not only for the individual student, but across the entire building and district. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Next speaker will be Karen Goldfarb.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reading a letter on the behalf of an individual, a parent of a special needs third grader, to whom it may concern. My daughter is in third grade this year. She's nonverbal. We have been in District 158 from the beginning in pre-K. Right away, I felt comfortable sending my daughter to school because she was given an amazing one-on-one, who we then had for 2 years, followed by another amazing aide in K2 who felt like family in the end. And now, although it took some time at the beginning of the year, we landed a great aide yet again. We have been very blessed to have such an amazing people watching after our daughters. Although we have had some amazing teachers in the past, nothing compares to the aides we have received. They take care of my daughter as if she's their own. They come up with new ideas for therapists on how to work with her. They change her diapers, feed her bottles, calm her down, play with her, work with her, and so much more. They are my eyes and ears on how my daughter's day is going, and they are a voice when she is at school. They text me updates and pictures and go above and beyond any job description. They even go shopping at Christmas with their own money to buy her gifts. They are her school mom, and really, they are also like her teacher. I couldn't even imagine sending my daughter to school if it wasn't for those amazing people, and they deserve the world. I stand behind them and hope that they get their fair pay. They deserve it. Thank you, Callan Lambert.
Thank you, Karen. Amy Dispato.
Hi, my name's Amy DiSabato, and I speak today as an individual in support of a fair living wage for all educational support professionals, but specifically today I speak for paraprofessionals. We've had a shortage of at least 20 paras in special education this year. In part, this is because those that might apply can go to fast food and retail for more money. In fact, they could apply at the high school coffee shop and make significantly more. In 1997, as a 17-year-old, my first raise at Burger King was 55 cents. This year, our paraprofessionals receive 60 cents. In 1997, was my worth to a fast food establishment as valuable as the worth of our paraprofessionals 25 years later to the Board of Education and the cabinet? They start at $13.87 an hour. In post-COVID, you see all over the place that fast food or any other job is advertising $14 or more. Again, are those jobs more valuable than the job our paras do? Our staff that sell tickets at events, supervise events, and scorekeep more valuable than these paras? Those extra duty positions pay $18 an hour. Even a para with 20+ years of experience in our district receives less than those extra duty positions at $17.37. It's 20 years of experience. It's sad that this is how we reward our dedicated, loyal employees that help with the students with the most needs. While every parent in our district has many job duties and responsibilities and a difficult job, I can only speak to my experience with the amazing paraprofessionals we have in the SNAP program. Let's step into my self-contained staff classroom. My aides are mentally and physically on from 7:15 to 2:25, except for their lunch break. From the moment the students step off the bus until the moment they leave for the day, paras are providing instruction in communication, functional life skills, social, and functional academic instruction. Problem solving occurs on a moment-by-moment basis to determine what our non-speaking students' needs are. Without warning, any of these moments can become a safety risk or a crisis due to behavior. They have to be alert and engaged, or else they can miss an important cue from a student that needs extra support. There's rarely a time for them to step away from students to take a breath. And while there are so many positive aspects to working in our SNAP program, from seeing the student master a skill to seeing them independently communicate with their device, but there are many difficult times. In the 9 years I've worked in SNAP, the paraprofessionals I've worked with have experienced spitting, losing hair from hair pulls, bites that break skin, grabs and pinches that leave scratches and scars, pain and bruising from grabs, headbutts, and kicks. We've had urine, fecal matter, vomit on us at one time or another. Yes, these paras in my program receive a 50-cent stipend for managing these behaviors, and another 50 cents if they need to support bathrooming. $7 extra a day for to risk injury, learn the ever-changing instructional needs of the students, and manage bathrooming and hygiene, and be mentally and physically drained by the end of the day.
Amy, I need you to wrap it up.
Thank you. So our administrators talk about us being a destination district, and we're a district of all students, always. Yet we put these students and the reputation of our district at risk when we don't provide a fair wage for the educational support. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Hillary Zurich.
Good evening. My name is Hillary Zurich, and I am a paraprofessional at Huntley High School. I am speaking as an individual. I am here tonight to speak to you about some of my concerns regarding the pay that my fellow coworkers and myself receive in accordance with the work we do every day at the school. We come to work because we love our jobs and we love the kids. However, it is in no way an easy job to do every day. There are days when we get bit, our hair gets pulled, we leave with scratches on our arms and legs, and pinch marks all over our bodies, depending on where the students can grab us. God forbid, blood is drawn or skin is broken, then we get the pleasure of visiting the hospital to find out if we need to be put on an antibiotic. Again, I want to emphasize that I love my job and I love the kids, but I am put in a position to care for people's children and getting paid less than my 16-year-old working his first job. I make more money an hour working at sporting events than I do caring for the children. I feel there is something seriously wrong with a system that thinks that is all right. We deserve to be valued and paid for the work we do. If we matter, then prove it. Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. Heidi Fish.
Hello, my name is Heidi Fish. I am a non-certified nurse at Martin Elementary and a member of HESPA. I am also the very proud mother of a self-contained special education student at Huntley High School. I'm speaking today as an individual and for myself. First, let me thank all of you for your hard work that you put into this very long and challenging school year. You have often had to make difficult and unpopular decisions to keep our students and staff safe. I think you did a very good job, but your work hasn't ended. I'm speaking here tonight because I feel very strongly that the support staff in this district are not being paid a fair living wage. Let me first talk to you as an employee. The importance of the school nurse has never been as obvious as it's been over the last 2 years. We played the critical role of a public health nurse as we tirelessly managed the ever-changing COVID protocols, in addition to our day-to-day health office responsibilities. We kept kids safe and the doors to the schools open. We play a vital role in this district, and we deserve to be compensated accordingly. Surrounding districts pay their nurses more. That fact cannot be disputed. Because of this, District 158 has had a difficult time filling open nursing positions. This results in the use of agency nurses. This nurse comes at a premium hourly rate with less experience and no real commitment to the mission of our district. It is very discouraging to have to train and work alongside an agency nurse who is making significantly more than I am. Finally, I'd like to talk to you as the mother of a special needs child in the district. Arthur requires a one-to-one aide to function successfully throughout his school day. In August of this school year, his paraprofessional was offered $13.37 an hour to work alongside him. Can you believe that? $13.37. He could have worked at Aldi and made more money stocking shelves. District 158 pays staff members $19 an hour to work extra duty to chaperone prom or during a sporting event. I am certain that our district leaders do not value prom or a football game over the unique needs of our special education students. It only looks that way when you pay them more money to do it. It has often been said that the measure of a society is found in how they treat their weakest and most helpless citizens. If our school district is measured by how well we compensate the staff that are caring for our most vulnerable students, we would be harshly judged. District 158 would fail this test. We strive to continue to be a destination district, but for whom? The support staff in this district need to be paid in a fair, respectful, dignified way, the same way the support staff treat our special education students every day, in spite of their low pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Oh, Frank, I'm gonna have a little trouble with your name here, or your writing. Frank? More your writing, Frank, I'm sorry. No way.
Yeah.
Frank Vitucci, okay.
Yeah,
Come on.
that's correct.
We're gonna work on your handwriting, Frank.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Frank Vitucci. I'm speaking as an individual. I'd like to read a letter from one of the staff members from the district. Good evening. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Christy Stomatis. I've worked for Huntley Community School District for the past 17 years as a special education teacher. During my journey as a special education teacher, I have worn many hats. I have taught children who needed an academic boost while others needed an alternate curriculum. Some children were nonverbal while others worked on conversation skills. Some children needed love, reassurance, affirmation, and encouragement, while others needed help regulating their body and emotions. I have been fortunate enough to work with the most amazing children. With those amazing children, I have had the opportunity and privilege to work with the most amazing and dedicated paraprofessionals. As a reflect of our motto, all students always, I cannot help think of one of the main reasons we are able to carry out our mission, our paraprofessionals. Our district is and will continue to be known for an outstanding program we provide to all students, especially students who have identified disabilities. I have worked with the most dedicated, talented, smart, kind-hearted, selfless paraprofessionals. These men and women are the ones who truly make the magic happen. In the midst of the pandemic, students are struggling in ways we have never experienced before. They They are struggling both academically, socially, and emotionally. This year, more than ever, students need connections with adults, SECO, and other individual support systems. Our amazing paraprofessionals have stepped up to help these struggling students by being check and contact mentors, a family and friendly face in the time of crisis, or just listening ear to a kiddo in need. They wipe their noses, their bottoms, the tears and scrapes. They implement specialized strategies, sensory diets, provide meaningful breaks, and support children when they are at the most vulnerable state. They play on the floor, sing songs, dance, crack jokes, and will do anything to bring joy to a child who is struggling. They play basketball in the gym. They run laps in PE, cheer on the discouraged, and celebrate with the successful. They reassure the child who is anxious, provide a special cue to a kiddo who needs a reminder, and help organize the child who is in tears because they cannot find something that they're looking for. They support their students with academic tasks, work, and students in small groups and individually as needed. They can be found sitting under a table with a struggling kiddo, playing Uno with one who needs a distraction from life at home, or consoling a child who is having an issue with a classmate or peer. They provide opportunities for children who learn besides their non-disabled peers. They buy snacks for the children who are hungry, supplies for the classroom, celebrations, special activities, and use the rewards to replenish school supplies for struggling students and families. They have come with new fidgets, games, activities, and treats to help support all students and their individual needs. None of these are asked of them. They do all of this out of the generosity of their own hearts. They cut laminating, make calendar pieces, school countdowns, and projects of their own time because there's never enough time in the day to get it all done. Every day they come to work with a positive attitude, warm smile, tender heart, and have such a huge impact on each child at LeGee. These men and women are the lifeline at LeGee. Without them, we would not be able to accomplish the mission, reach all of our children, provide a safe and loving environment in the way that we are able to at this moment. As a parent, I want these adults in my child's life making meaningful connections, being responsive relationships, and being their very own cheerleader. Let me close by saying this. There will never be enough adjectives to describe how desperately needed they are, how hard they work, and what impact they have on the future. To the amazing paraprofessionals, Lisa McAllister, Tina Kenders, Marcy Nosek, you are worth more than $1 million to me. Your dedication, hard work, and ability to problem solve, be in the eyes and ears when I can't be near, and the way you love our students is like your own, and it is inspiring. I support you, I love you, and I stand with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Amy Tetra. Amy, I know it says on behalf of the ECC staff, I need you to pick one.
Well, I have two. I have my own and I have ECC.
Which is okay.
So,
The same 3 minutes.
okay.
Total.
All right. Here we go. I'm going to start with mine. Again, my name is Amy Tetra, and I teach in the self-contained program at Marlow Middle School. I've been teaching in or for District 158 for the past 22 years. I believe my degrees, I have a bachelor's, a master's, a second master's in administration, as well as my special education director licensure. Those credentials and experience should make me well qualified to meet the District 158 goal of all students always. I'm here to tell you, I cannot do that in isolation. I cannot teach core academic skills and meet IEP goals without paraprofessionals. They support large groups, instruct small groups, assist students with emotional and behavioral and sensory regulation so that they are available for learning. I cannot meet the legal requirements of an IEP without these services. I cannot reach all students always without respected paraprofessionals. I cannot teach the activities of daily living without paraprofessionals. I cannot meet their basic needs of personal care without those paraprofessionals. I cannot ensure the medical safety of my staff and students without our nurses. Our team puts student needs above their own physical and emotional well-being on a daily basis. Our team focuses on the daily living skills and needs of our students while struggling to support their own families on a salary that is one of the lowest in the area and well below other community employment. I cannot ensure the safety of all students without respected nurses. I cannot support a student's emotional health without the support personnel. Campus supervisors often provide sensory support, such as walking breaks and short conversations with students to allow them to express themselves, relieve stress, or de-escalate physical confrontation. They respond when and if needed. Our bus aides support unstructured times going to and from school, preparing me to know how these children will arrive and be ready for their day. I cannot ensure the emotional health of all students always without respected bus drivers, bus aides, and campus support staff. I feel I can't organize all the needs of the classroom without building support personnel, such as secretaries who allow me less time on paperwork, more time in the classroom, lunch staff who accommodate special diets and special needs, custodians who find needed supplies to complete a science lesson or clean up bodily fluids without question or complaint. I cannot ensure organization for all students without respected school personnel. We cannot move forward as a district without respecting all staff always. They deserve a living wage and our respect as professionals. I fear what the reputation will be at moving forward as we try to look for professionals in this district and looking at the community competitive employment. What will it say if we cannot respect and pay a fair living wage to our school professionals? On behalf of the ECC, I have a letter here signed by...
Just so you know, you got like 36.
It's a short one. Signed by 17 of the ECC. They state that over 50% of the early childhood student population receives special education services. Given our student population and their learning needs, we depend on that paraprofessional support to meet the needs of their students. Paraprofessionals in the ECC support students in their academic skills, self-help skills, assisting with their behavior management, and ensuring the safety of our students. The paraprofessionals are integral in our daily functioning. There's no way for us to complete our job without support. We value their hard work and dedication to our students, and our current support staff possess years of knowledge and experience that allow us to work seamlessly to meet the needs of our students. They deserve to earn a living wage. In District 158, it is always, all students always. Without collaboration between certified staff members and highly qualified paraprofessionals, it's no student in any way. Signed 17 staff members of ECC.
Thank you, Amy. We're on to, it looks like, Bill Teeter.
Good evening, everybody. I am not an employee. I am a parent who has been blessed by the services that are here. Theo, how are you? Dr. O, finally get a chance to meet you. How are you, sir? Marcus, we've already said hi before. My daughter Annika has been in this district the bulk of her school. Because of that, she actually is going to graduate Saturday. Thanks. As a parent, I've experienced every service this union represents, whether it's the aides on the bus, whether it's transportation, whether it's the nursing staff, whether it's the cafeteria people who are trying to help her out. I fully 100%, 150% support their desire to get a living wage that is competitive with every other school district in this area. I have a different insight as well, because this year, my wife is a one-on-one special needs aide at Marvin. I get to see her come home from school every day and literally crash out on the couch for an hour and a half because she is just physically exhausted. I understand what they go through. I still have marks and scars on my arms from my own daughter, so I know what these children can be doing to these one-on-one paraprofessionals. It is absolutely disgusting to hear that someone can go to a fast food joint and make more than a paraprofessional who is taking care of our children. So I would just add that I've been in the district for the bulk of 30 years. I have always voted for any tax increase that the district ever presented. hybrid or electric buses that are going to be coming. And I'm sure the reason these things were approved is based off of return on investment. I'm looking at the investment of our children, students, whether it's general population or special needs, and for the teachers who need support that this union provides. I wholeheartedly ask that you please get competitive with everyone else in the area and give these people the living wage they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna say Shannon Heichel. Please, Shannon.
I'm Shannon Heidi.
It's what it is. I thought that Dr. Rowe talked me into a CLE.
It looks like a CL.
It does. Sorry, but sorry about that. I was gonna go with that, sorry.
Good evening, I'm Shannon Heidi, and I'm a paraprofessional at LaGee, and I'm speaking on behalf of Joanne Hines. My name is Joanne Hines, speaking as an individual, and I have been an instructional coach at LaGee Elementary for the past 8 years. I have always been very proud to work at Colony District 158, because I believe that they have students at the forefront of their decision-making. I'm writing to express my concern over the wages of support staff and the low pay raises that are being considered in the future. During the pandemic, I've realized that our support staff is the foundation of our schools. I have learned to value the people I work with now more than ever. Without our support staff, our teachers and administrators are unable to help our students. Every person in this building works extremely hard to keep kids safe, fed, happy, and learning. To know that a paraprofessional starting pay is advertised at $13.62 is very disheartening. To know custodial staff members' starting pay is advertised at $14.12 an hour is ridiculous. Our library aides make $16 an hour after working for our district for 9 years. We have 8 reading and math interventionists at LaGee that do a very similar job to our certified reading math interventionists. Many paraprofessionals are required to have some college education, continue to update their license, and take on never-ending additional roles. The world around us is changing, and companies like Target, Aldi, and Costco value their employees and pay them $17, $20, and $24 an hour. They are changing with the times, and so should we. Our support staff deserve to be compensated in a respectful way by giving them a good, honest raise. Thank you for your heartfelt consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Mark Lowy. Lowy available.
Maybe running from the overflow, maybe?
Mark Lowy.
He might be in the other room.
In regards to item, so. We'll come back to Mark if he's around. We'll move on to Amy Jo Tetra.
You got it. 2 and 3 minutes efficiency.
You got it, right? How did I get 2 sheets for you?
Because she has 2 letters.
Okay, I got it. We got the.
Paperwork.
Okay, so, all right, so if Mark Lowy is not available, I'm gonna move on to the next group of public comments, which is many in the group that's out in the hallway. So I don't know if there was anybody thinking of leaving now would be a good time to allow some of these other members. Otherwise, if you want to stay, you're welcome. That's fine. We'll move on to, let me give you a few minutes to transition.
enough of that.
Okay, is it, hey, Adam? Adam, don't they want to come in?
There's not a lot of room.
There's not a lot of room there? Well, if they want to come in and grab a seat, tell them to grab a seat now. I'm good. That's all I wanted, okay, that's fine, I just wanted to give them the opportunity to come on in. So the next speaker will be Stella Duchan.
I'm speaking on behalf of the Lakey elementary supervisors. We were informed just recently that our hours are going to go from 25 down to 2.5 hours. I'm so sorry, it's going to go from 5.5 to 2.5 hours starting next year. Not only will our hours be taken away, but we will also lose our sick, personal, bereavement days, and our retirement. As you know, we already make minimum wage. This will impact our families financially, especially with the present inflation occurring. Majority of us live in Huntley, therefore we are taxpayers. 60% of our taxes go back to the district. When we signed the new contract stating that our new title from lunch recess supervisor to the elementary supervisor, we were never informed that it was not, that we were going to be getting decreased hours again. It is not in there at all. The position prescription was very vague. We completed any and all jobs that we were asked to do, dedicating professionally, and did everything with minimum wage only. These roles included providing students IEPs, motor room breaks in the morning and in the afternoon. We sat in classrooms with students while teachers taught in Zoom. We cover lunches and recess as usual. We cover all extra recesses given as teachers would receive their replacement, so the teachers, could receive their replacement plan time. We ran PE classes, we ran music classes, we helped with art classes. Because there was no substitutes available, we helped with dismissal. We watched and supported students for pickup in car rider, and also outside we helped with a line. As they were saying, we are only making minimum wage, and if you were to bring your other staff, they were like 19 and above. One of our ES workers also helps with reading with one of the students. She does it 3 times a week. We do, like we said, we do accomplish everything that was asked of us, and it's just extremely disappointing that you're taking what we did and now you're taking us back down to such a small amount of hours each week. It is unfair and upsetting that the teachers continually do utilize us every day. We support the students, teachers, and nursing staff. We are always busy. Who is going to fill in that gap? The district still faces shortages of teachers, aides, and supporting staff. We have a wonderful, hardworking elementary supervisor team. We feel completely upset, completely used, unappreciated, hurt, and taken advantage of. We were there when Levine needed us, but now we feel as we were just being discarded due to the hour decrease. We are curious to who made this decision and why, and would you be willing to work with us and compromise, allowing some of us to stay on because you don't know what the future is going to be with COVID and what the impact is going to be. Are you just going to come back to us again and ask us to increase our hours? Because most of us probably aren't going to stay for just 12 hours and 30 minutes a week when you've had us at 25 to 27. So I hope you consider reaching out to us. Thank you.
Okay, Laura Adamczyk.
Good evening, my name is Laura Adamczyk, and I'm an elementary supervisor at McGee. And I would just like to share a letter of appreciation that some of the teachers have given to us at McGee. To our lovely ladies, there are no words or gifts that express how thankful we are to have your support at McGee. You are little magical fairies that, with the wave of your wands, have gone above and beyond for us in every possible way. You have saved us countless hours of time making copies, booklets, and preparing projects. You assisted our students by positively guiding them when they needed you the most and took our classes to give us back our missed plan time. You always supported us with a smile and a kind heart. What you have done for us has been insurmountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Prigge.
Hello.
Hello.
First, let me tell you, my name is Kristen Prigge. I'm an elementary supervisor at McGee. First, let me tell you who we are. We are elementary supervisors. We are community members, parents in the district, single parents, and we are wives who wish to help support our households. We love the flexibility on this job, and it gives us the opportunity to work and be present in our life, in our home life. Think of the district as a pyramid. District office personnel are at the top, teacher professionals in the middle, and let's just say elementary supervisors are on the bottom. We may be on the bottom and seem disposable, but you are missing the big picture. We are from the foundation of our school. We hold it all together wherever it is needed. With minimal training, we have demonstrated we are capable of multitasking and have been compliant to all the changes the school has had. I was never notified when hired this was a pandemic job, that once restrictions were lifted, our hours would be cut. I find it hard to believe it wasn't known that our hours would be cut, yet nothing was communicated to us up until just recently. We have worked our tails off supporting our school. We have dealt with the severity of COVID and its effects on our students. Our time was not wasted. This feels very unappreciated with the actions of cutting our hours. We have gone above our expectations and resources. An argument I have heard is volunteers are coming back. Volunteers are not consistent and it's never a guarantee. The stress of teachers finding or fitting in work is a concern as well. Why create more work for teachers when we are in the building already helping? The budget was brought up as well. I have heard a district administrative assistant was hired for the upcoming year. Meanwhile, all hours are cut in half to save on the budget. We are far more beneficial and in our schools supporting teachers and staff on a daily basis. One last thing that shows our efforts are an impact in the amount of work we have is all the teachers piling up work just to get it done before the start of next year. That just shows we will be greatly missed and are utilized every day outside of lunch hours. The decision to cut our hours will have a multiple level effect on our schools. I ask you to reconsider your decision. We have proved we are a foundation of our schools. Please support elementary supervisors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kristen. Jill Cataldo. Jill.
You want Carrie to go first?
And bring Carrie in.
Here. Hello, I'm Carrie Cross. I'm with the Parent Union. Thank you for all of the paras being a special ed mom. My appreciation is endless. All the issues that were spoken about tonight have been discussed numerous times by the Parent Union, but you didn't believe us. You wanted to hear it from more than just the Parent Union. Well, you got that tonight. These folks that spoke tonight are drowning, and you choose to keep your heads in the sand. Do better. I'm going to read a letter written by my son, submitted to a scholarship elsewhere. By Logan Cross. The most difficult challenge that I've ever faced. That immediately brings up one area of my life in my mind, Marlowe Middle School. It was 2 years of my time in Huntley that I sadly will never forget. Marlowe, or more in general terms, District 158, has made questionable decisions that from my experience weren't the greatest concerning the students. I used to be, before 2019, a kid that was always smiling. I was very bright, creative, and pretty goofy, as all kids should be. Marlowe wrecked all of that. I'd also like to say the district wasn't the only problem, but the people. I met several people there who on the outside had done nothing good for me or my mental health. What I mean by that is there have been many people who've made my life so much darker, and thus I do not give them gratitude, but my experiences with them have probably made me stronger and more confident. I've met good people at Marlowe, one I considered for writing my recommendation letter, but the majority of people at Marlowe haven't been honorable. My life was abruptly interrupted by COVID-19, as were most others. But I was just starting to let go of the people at Marlowe, and I was getting better at avoiding bad situations for me and my mental health in general, except, like I just mentioned, the pandemic. I was shut off from society, all of us were, and it wasn't good for me at all. I'm a social person, and I like being around my friends. So when I needed them most, to see it all go away, it destroyed me. My empathy was crushed, and I became terrible to people around me and to myself. At this point in my life, I wasn't in a good contact with my faith. I wasn't at a Catholic school, and I was very removed from it all. Anytime I did try to pray for mercy, I felt only one thing, the feeling of a bit, that I would never be fully free. Things that made me happy wouldn't last forever. My words here are not an overstatement of how I felt, and to be honest, I still don't think I'm fully healed. But now I go to a private school. I cannot express the thankfulness I have for the people there. They saved my life. Being around people that were happy, it was the most healing my soul had ever felt. Being around God and going to church more often brought me closer to Him than ever. The smile on their faces reminded me of how much I should cherish everything. There's not a day I don't walk into the school smiling. I can't afford to waste this joy. I need to cherish everything, everyone, because it's not forever. God taught me to love my life and the people around me, because for a while it lasts, in the short time I have to cherish it all. So I guess I should say thank you to all of you for pushing us to pull our sons. Oh, and you guys might want to take down the strongly recommended mask signs now, because they're lying to the public, they're lying to the students, staff, and everyone that walks in. Have a good day. See you in June.
Jill, do you want to go now? Okay.
I'm Jill Cataldo, and I'm a member of the District 158 Parent Union. A lot of us redid our speeches a little bit tonight because we had a large group at our meeting last night, so I'm not going to go over the same things that have been said. We support them 100%, everything that they brought to your attention tonight. I would like to use my time, though, to bring to the table some of the other issues that our parents have been raising lately. In light of what is going on both in other area districts and other districts around the country, we as parents are requesting that a process be put in place for parents to review curriculum either being considered for the district and used by the district. Did you know that currently in Evanston, Skokie, this is District 65, here in Illinois, their current curriculum teaches kindergarten through third grade new pronouns, including sie, Zere and tree, T-R-E-E. The book even notes that the idea of tree as a pronoun may be confusing to students, but they want to break the binary of gender. This curriculum is available online and even contains a note to the teacher saying students may be confused about pronouns new to them, such as tree. Can any of you seated in this room explain the meaning of tree as a pronoun? While we don't want to believe Huntley will ever teach something like this to elementary schoolers, another Illinois district is, and it's something that's on our radar. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary, long standard, has no definition for Z or Zere. You can go on it right now and search, and it says these words don't exist. You can't use these words in a game of Scrabble, but some area districts are teaching them to 5-year-olds. We feel this is very confusing for children, especially elementary children, and our parents would really like assurances that this kind of radical, agenda-driven pedagogy is not coming to District 158. We are already seeing how it's affecting children around the country. This last week, Wisconsin's Kiel School District filed sexual harassment charges against 3 middle schoolers for failing to use the word they to describe a single female student. This is the correct grammatical usage of she, which is what they said. These students now have Title IX sexual harassment charges on their records for referring to a female girl as she, because it wasn't her pronoun of choice. Virginia's Fairfax County recently announced an expulsion policy for elementary schoolers who use the wrong pronoun to describe another student, including kindergarten. We realize there is a pronoun fluidity movement going on, but these are little children, guys. In a world where they're being told they can change pronouns and identities on a whim, they're also being expected to get these pronouns right or face consequences that could alter their school career. We feel we are right to be concerned. One of our District 158 parents was recently told by a teacher that 2 genders is an antiquated view. We are also aware District 158 teachers recently received training that stated the same thing. Why are our tax dollars going for this, something that's against basic biology? My daughter spent 12 years in District 158 and graduated in 2014. None of this was being taught. How things have changed in 8 years. On a personal note, Dr. Rowe, you and I had a great conversation last summer at the farmer's market about agendas and slants and things coming up the pipe curriculum-wise. And at that time you said to me, I don't have an agenda. We don't have an agenda. And I do believe you, and I appreciated your honesty on that a great deal. But the reality is many of the curriculum manufacturers do have an agenda, and it's something they're sliding in a little bit at a time. Earlier this year, my freshman brought home a brand new geography book, I touched on this in an earlier speech, that was pushing BLM and how wonderful the organization was. This week, we learned they've been using the majority of their funds to buy 5 multi-million-dollar mansions, $800,000 salaries to family members, friends, and chartering planes at $73,000 a flight. They've spent $45 million in a year. $200,000 has gone to black houses. What's what we now know? This is still an organization being pushed in a curriculum book that we have presumably for years. Wouldn't an agenda-free curriculum be better? D158 is in the process of adopting Carnegie Math, but Carnegie Math was recently rejected by the state of Florida due to content critical of a variety of races, political parties, and beliefs. Again, this content should not be present in a math book any more than political organizations belong in the geography book. When Florida, I'm wrapping.
Yeah, no problem.
I am. When Florida rejected this, the textbook manufacturer said, okay, we'll take it out. They know exactly what's going in the books, and we want to know too. We are requesting a process be implemented where parents can view the curriculum currently being used and also be involved in the selection process when new curriculum is considered. But we would really like the schools to get back to teaching the basics. Please don't wade into the wokeness with questionable ideologies and words that don't exist in the dictionary. A generation of children we have entrusted to your care is at stake. Thank you.
Corinne Burns.
Hi, I'm Corinne Burns. I'm part of the District 158 Parent Union. In February of this year, after a nearly 2-year struggle, our kids were finally on masks and close contact quarantining stopped. However, there are still COVID safety policies in place that make little to no common sense. Why is it that kids could crowd around each other maskless to play and learn, but when they eat, they need to be spaced out? My daughter used her paw points to have lunch with her principal. She was proud to be able to do this, but the photos on Facebook showed my child sitting opposite end of her classmate, 2 at a table, and the third child was sitting alone. Other kids have reported rotating snack time, where half the kids eat for 8 minutes and then the other half eat for 8 minutes so they can space out. At Marlowe, kids are eating at desks during lunch because it would be too costly to put the tables back. So what is the price tag for kids' mental health? How much is the cost to move tables? What specific danger does eating pose? I'm looking forward to being able to join my kids next week at their kindergarten and first grade lunch. However, these are both being taken place outside at the mercy of the Midwest weather. I'm assuming this can't take place inside because there will be eating involved and too many people will be too close. Why do we have seniors walking down crowded hallways for graduation and the kids here tonight were crowded together, but eating together is too dangerous? I'd like to bring awareness to the school nurses going rogue and continuing to break the law. In February, my children were called out sick, and the McCabe nurse told me they needed a negative COVID test or quarantine for 5 days and mask for 5 days to return. I refused. As a named parent, Mr. DeBoer straightened this matter out for me, and my kids were able to return to school. Jessica Lombard updated the website, and after this clarified that children should stay home until they are getting better and fever-free for 24 hours, and they don't need to test to return. Still, as of last week, parents were reporting that schools were the school nurses were telling the parents that the children cannot return if they're exhibiting COVID symptoms without a negative test or quarantine. I trust that Jessica handled this as well with the nurses. However, I'm concerned that they continue to make their own rogue decisions and they're not following the outlined school policies. Legally, a court order is required to quarantine or modify quarantine, such as a mask a child. Many parents reported they're still being notified of contact tracing, even though the quarantine is not required. Some are notified on day 10. What sense does this make? How much money is the school spending on this? How much money and resources are they spending on shield testing? I know it's the end of the school year and everyone's going to pack out next week and forget about most of this, but I urge you to reconsider some of these antisocial, harmful policies. Create and enforce policies that make sense and let the kids return to normal. And educate the staff so that the kids are treated like children in school and not lepers.
Thank you, Corinne. Danny Athens?
Hello, I'm Danny Athens, and I'm a member of the D158 Parent Union. At a recent parent union meeting, many parents expressed concerns about the sexual education standards being pushed from the state of Illinois to our area schools. While we know these radical concepts are not yet being taught to our elementary-aged kids, although I've heard some different things, we are very concerned about what happens when D158 is forced to accept them. As a parent of a 5-year-old, this is a major concern for my husband and I as we contemplate completing our daughter's registration for next year. These standards have been written by highly partisan organizations, and they include concepts many of us are not comfortable teaching our children about. For example, 5th graders being taught and presented with the option of hormone blockers should they wish to change their gender. An issue we have not yet seen raised is that of mandated reporting. Teachers are mandated reporters, and in Illinois, they are required to immediately report suspected child abuse to the Illinois Department of Child and Family Services. However, these same teachers will be asked to teach graphic sexual content to children, not just the birds and the bees, but details of sexual positions, practices, and so-called gender-affirming surgery. How does that affect things when the person trusted to be a mandated reporter is also allowed to promote and explain different kinds of sex to a minor? These are potentially the kinds of sexual conversations that a child might bring to a mandated reporter. Only now the person reporting is allowed to discuss sexual content with the child. Where's the line? Surely these are ethical issues. If we do in fact complete our registration for next year and our daughter enters the district, I'm telling you right now, if I hear of any of this, you will not see the end of me. Switching gears to another issue. Many of the parents in our group are also concerned about the furry culture being encouraged at D158 schools, particularly at Huntley High School and at Marlowe. One father raised a valid point to us. The dress code prohibits students from wearing a hood on their heads or hats, but they are allowed to don
horse head masks and tails and run around school making animal sounds, and this is considered acceptable. I'm sure you've all seen the furry photos being floated around on social media of the horse. Even my 5-year-old knows it's not appropriate to wear costumes to school. Another parent brought to our attention that a son's friend was told to turn his shirt inside out because it read, "I heart hot moms." But again, if students identify as animals, they're allowed to dress as such without consequence. Again, this goes back to wanting to see our schools create an environment for learning. It is not necessary for our schools to entertain every single whim or desire that these children wish to express while they're at school. I know as a parent, I certainly don't. Some of the parents in our group have older children who went through the D158 system before radical sex ed or identifying as an animal were permissible. In fact, if you have older children, some of you do remember that around 2013, grit was a term that was being heavily pushed in the D158 schools. Grit was defined as mental toughness, focus, perseverance, and motivation. It has taught children to toughen up, be assertive, and to take responsibility for their own successes. How things have changed. We have gone from grit and self-sufficiency to our schools denying basic biology, and they seem ready to accept whatever the state hands to them when it comes to the sex ed without a second thought.
You gonna wrap up, Amy? Thank you. Diane Bittman? Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is Diane Bittman. I'm a member of the parent union. This is very impromptu, not prepared. I actually was scratching this on the back of one of the sheets back there. But while I was listening to a lot of these people speaking, the support staff speaking, some different thoughts came through my mind. Last month, my husband had spoken regarding the budget. He had noted, and the board agreed, that enrollment has dropped, and it is continuing to drop. With that, he also noted there's been a decline in the number of teachers that this district has in alignment with the drop of enrollment. Yet, there has been an increase in the number of administration. And he defined administration as those that are superintendents, assistant superintendents, I believe it was deans, chair people, and directors. Is this really the direction that we want to go, especially following a pandemic when we have large academic gaps that are taking place, emotional needs that are needing to be met, a lot of anxiety amongst our students, and our teachers are highly stressed. A lot of these support staff here are part of that solution. They are there supporting the students. They are helping to meet their emotional needs. They are there helping to keep them safe. They are getting to know them personally. They also are supporting the teachers who are feeling overwhelmed and trying to feed them that educational needs. By their work, this allows the teachers to dedicate themselves more fully to recognizing the individual needs of the different students and to communicating with parents and with administration. I think their job is invaluable. Later on, ironically, I know you guys are voting on the decrease in their hours, the decrease in their benefits, I believe. Yet ironically, after that vote, there appears to be another vote on the table for adding another superintendent assistant. And I believe there's quite a few monies involved with that. Is that, again, the direction that we want to go? Sorry, I'm trying to organize. For me as a parent and as a taxpayer, I have to ask, do we want the tax money spent on people who are directly working with the kids and helping the teachers, or do we want more high-level administration? Tonight, the board will be voting on this cut and voting on an assistant superintendent. Some may argue we need both, but I think we need to look at trade-offs, and I think these folks should win out, and we should keep them in place. Thank you.
Okay, that is the end of public comments. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, we're gonna move on to item 7, revision and adoption of the agenda. Ro, you have the superintendent's report?
I do.
I think so. Lombard does. Dr. Schlichter, do you have anything? Nothing. Del Castillo? McCrindle? Nothing. Brallmeyer? Who's there? Yeah. Brzezinski? And then, no legislation committee. Okay. So then, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the deletions of items 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 19. Is there a second? Second. 16. Yeah. Hang on one second. 16.
I'm sorry, not 16.
No, 16's okay. Who gave me a second, then what I did? Can we have roll call for that?
Mr. Guerin,
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino. Yes. Mr. Quagliano.
Yes.
Mr. Praddy, Mr. Troy,
Yes.
Mr. Gentry,
Yes.
Mrs. Melendi.
Yes.
Passes. Item 8, superintendent's report.
All right. I have actually quite a few things to cover tonight. There's a lot of wonderful things going on in our school district as we wrap up the year, and I wanted to highlight and update you on a few. But to begin, I'm going to go impromptu and address some of the comments that were made this evening. I want it to be known that our cafeterias, the reason why our cafeteria tables have not returned as we would like them to have returned is not about money at all. It's 100% about manpower and time and transitioning, 400 desks out of Marlowe to the same place that the tables are coming from. It's going to take our O&M team a week or more in order to handle that. It's just not feasible with the fact that school runs on a daily basis. So it's not about money, it's more about manpower and time, and Mr. Rinkosik's team being able to accomplish that. Another comment we would like to address, we contact trace and communicate with our families as a courtesy of a close contact. Our nurses are by no means going rogue. They are 100% serving the families of this district well and focusing on the health of their children. And if you're in a close contact, given that we're in a mask optional environment, we feel you still need to know so that you can take the proper steps and monitor your symptoms in case it comes up and know where that may have come from as a courtesy of being a good partner in this. Carnegie Math was mentioned. I predicted that was going to come last month, but I'm not surprised that it's here now. Carnegie Math was dropped from Florida's book list because it does not meet Florida standards of learning. You may recognize that Florida has not adopted Common Core learning, and Illinois has. They're called the Illinois Learning Standards. So Carnegie Math has nothing to do with any racial or sexual orientation comments in the book or examples, as other examples Florida has given. It is 100% about Florida did not adopt the Common Core. Illinois Learning Standards are aligned to Common Core. We are very proud to bring Carnegie Math. It's going to push the instruction of math in our district and give our teachers the training and the tools they need to push mathematics in the classroom for our students to excel. And then finally, I would like to, Ms. Stidmiller, address your comment. Dr. Zwimke, we are excited to approve him later this evening as a replacement for Dr. Schlichter, as Dr. Schlichter is leaving the district, not an additional position, but we are excited to welcome him to our team. Moving on to my planned remarks. Obviously, we had a water main break at Martin earlier in this week. The first one that I've experienced in my time, and I think maybe the first one in quite some time. It was a surprise, and if you saw the video, it was tens of thousands of gallons of water flooding the the area outside of Martin. So this resulted in the cancellation of school for 2 days, which is very regrettable. But in that time, in an expedited period of time, I have a few thank yous because without these people, we would have been prolonged and it would have been much worse. We would have had our students out longer. So our O&M team and then our Chief Security Officer, Mr. Jean, who probably can't hear me out in the hallway, did an exceptional job coordinating that repair with our contractors and expediting that process. The Village of Huntley, serving a school in Lake in the Hills because they have a water expert team with the tools that we do not have at our disposal to help locate where the water, the valves are underground, came to our aid and did an excellent job being the good partners that they are. I want to thank the Health Department. Not always been thankful to the Health Department in the last number of years, but I am at this point because they expedited the process in which getting the water tested that was a requirement by the state in order to reopen. So the Health Department, their flexibility, and they've came through for us big time. And then finally, I want to thank the families and staff of Martin for their flexibility and understanding. The surprises are never welcome, and after a couple of years of surprises that have been very unwelcome, our staff adjusted quickly to shift to an online instructional environment that we hoped not to return to, but the students and families adjusted with that curveball, and we really appreciate them all. Moving on to my next topic, I've had a Raiders Read Together update. Well, actually, if there's any questions in the Martin water break, I mean, I communicated with you all via email, but I didn't know if you had any questions about that, or if not, I'm happy to move on, but I wanted to give you the opportunity. All right. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about Raiders Read Together, which is our One Book, One Community Reading Initiative. We'll be sending a communication to all of our student families tomorrow. We're very excited about this, but we have a slight change of plan. We learned after our communication, or after our meeting a couple of weeks ago, that the Huntley Library and Village, they published their summer activities, and they happened to be showing the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka, this summer on July 22nd, which was 10 days prior to our plans. So we decided what better way to do it than to just partner with them and support their movies. We're moving up our plans in terms of releasing the recordings of community members and teachers, administrators that are reading different chapters of this book, so that we can finish the book in time to participate in that July 22nd event. So we're excited about that and excited about the opportunity coming ahead to do a community-wide reading. We will still host the movie night that we talked about on August 1st at Red Raider Stadium. However, we won't be showing Willy Wonka. We'll be showing another family-friendly movie, and are excited for that information to come out soon. We'll be inviting the community to come out to the football field and with water, sit on the field, or with other beverages in the stands, and fit a couple thousand people there comfortably to watch the movie together. And it's a Celebrate Huntley Week, the first week of August, which is great for us as we kind of gear our minds and efforts back towards returning to school, and we're excited about that event. But what I'm most excited about this One Community, One Book, this Raiders Read Together, is going to be an opportunity for us to, families to come together, and we're providing those reading strategies and question stems for families to ask students. It's a really important component of this. Those books will be delivered to to the eldest child in each family, K through 8, or pre-K through 8. Any student who might be absent Thursday and Friday will be communicated. They can pick up a copy of that book in their office. Any high school student who wishes to jump in and participate, copies will be available at the high school office. We hope that everyone engages and participates. It could be a really, really great summer and community unifying event. Last week, we held or 2 weeks ago, our Huntley Education Foundation Annual Employee of the Year Banquet. This has become a wonderful tradition in our school district, where we get to celebrate the Educator and Employee of the Year. And I just wanted to highlight publicly the two winners of those designations. I want to congratulate Mr. Joel Bosman, campus supervisor at Marlowe, for being named Employee of the Year. Things that were said about Mr. Bosman that evening, comically, as Mr. Johnson, Marlowe's principal, was presenting it, he reads, "Should Joel be the new principal at Marlowe?" He is loved by the students so much that the students started a petition to make him one. Very welcoming for Mr. Johnson in his first year as principal at Marlowe. Joel is always right there to make sure the building is running smoothly and to keep the building students and staff safe. He put up the protective barriers, walks students to other buildings for COVID testing, and even greets families in the car rider lines. Joel makes Marlowe a better place. You'll find him each morning directing traffic at Marlowe. Also, you will find me waiting in that line. And then secondly, I want to congratulate our educator of the year, Mrs. Shiloh DeYoung from Heinemann. Things that were said about Shiloh that evening. Day in, day out, Shiloh's determination to make sure all students are cared for and successful is evident and remembered often. Students return to Shiloh to say thank you. Shiloh is generous, hardworking, kind, passionate, wise, and thoughtful. She has built a Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports from the ground up and started after-school intervention programs. She dissects data and mentors students. Shiloh is Heinemann's fearless leader. They were celebrated at an extremely high level by their colleagues, by administration, and by Huntley Education Foundation. A couple of weeks ago, it was a wonderful evening and has continued to be a really beautiful tradition in this district. All right, next topic I want to kind of recap on is reflecting on our first year of RAD. RAD is Recognizing American Diversity. It is a concept that came out of a couple of administrators from the high school where they wanted to create learning opportunities for the community to come together, learn about some of the different cultures and that represent our school district. It's what started with an idea, quickly turned into a small army of teachers from the high school who are working to spread this initiative that is actually spreading to the middle school, and a couple of middle school teachers are looking to jump in and participate. Each month they focused on different groups of people in our American society with the goal to raise awareness and understanding and create a welcoming environment for all who wish to engage with the common goal of acceptance and learning in mind. I've been impressed with this group. They're leaders in our school district and have positive experience that they've cultivated for our community. And I have nothing more but simply thank them publicly for their time, energy, and efforts in bringing some opportunities for us to learn about some things that are different from what many of us have been used to growing up. It enriches the lives of our students and the learning opportunities, and I commend them and look forward to what they have ahead for us in the future. Two more, almost done. But my favorite thing that this district does is that we're in our 7th year of doing it, and it's the graduation walk. If you saw on social media, if you haven't, go seek it out. It's hard to believe that it was the 7th year that we've been doing this. It's really, really a special event. And this is one of the luxuries that we have for being a unit district. You know, as our high school teachers don't get to experience it, and talking with some of them yesterday, it hit me that they hadn't gotten to witness it. So I sure hope they're watching the video, and if we could find ways to involve them in some way, I don't know how we could do that, they would benefit from it, because our elementary teachers and our middle school teachers were screaming, "This is just what I needed." It reminded me of my why, was one of the quotes. As I think of Conley folks in Kelly Fusco had cookies and goodie bags for kids with their pictures that she was waiting to give them on their way by. I mean, 10 years later. It's really interesting, and it's fantastic. And it really speaks to the culture of what our school district really, really is. It's been a hard couple of years. It has been hard to listen to a lot of the comments about people that were frustrated with some of the decisions we had to make. And I understand that and respect those positions, but seeing our kids walk through at the culminating moment of their school experience, most of them coming all the way through from kindergarten or preschool, it's truly rewarding, and to see our teachers with tears and our kids with tears and saying, "This is my why." And finding that again, they were rejuvenated, and it brought some excitement back that we're all very happy for. So it's a great tradition. I look forward to seeing that again many, many years in the future. And then finally, graduation is Saturday, as Dr. Beelan mentioned. We will send off a little over 800 graduates into the world. I believe this is our largest graduating class we've had. And we don't meet for a couple of weeks after graduation, so I wanted to offer my congratulations to all of our graduates and wish them well in their future endeavors. I'm looking very forward to celebrating with them on Saturday night. So that is all. Lots of wonderful things and an exciting time in the school district wrapping up the school year. Yes, everyone is eager for summer, students, parents, educators for that break. It's been a long, hard year, but we have a lot of celebrating to do in the final week, and we're very excited for our students and sending them off in the summer on a positive note. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the comments, or thank you for the opportunity.
I would ask you to address one other comment, because several of the middle speakers talking about the elementary aides, many of them claiming that hours are being cut back, but what's the reality of what their positions were prior to the pandemic and what's transpiring?
Sure. I'll push this over to Dr. Zier and let him address that from HR.
Yeah, so those positions, pre-pandemic, we're reducing those hours back, to what those were. We're very grateful, for the assistance, that these folks provided. We did increase those hours, as great, I guess is the best way to describe it. Many of the responsibilities that were shared tonight were true. If someone did not get communicated, that this was a possibility, my apologies for that, I'll own that, but that was the expectation for our hiring managers, when folks came on. But we are, that's why you're seeing that resolution tonight. It's I say pre-pandemic, but it's a return to the pre-pandemic hours of what those roles, were previously.
I think the only thing I would add is to kind of maybe paint the picture. In order to meet some of the spacing requirements and the distancing, especially while we were eating, that the state and the health department gave to us, we couldn't be in the cafeterias any longer. So now we're taking a grade level of students and they have to eat in their classrooms. So we needed more people for longer periods of the day in order to cover all of those classrooms and then also cover recess outside. That's the justification for the expansion. And then you also heard this evening about the shortages in our HESPA support staff union in terms of paraprofessionals, and all of those elementary supervisors who were interested in more hours were strongly encouraged and we would support them in the process of obtaining a para endorsement if they were eligible and enough education to do so. They've been wonderful to us. We'd welcome them into those full-time jobs and fill some of those jobs.
Absolutely. I've had a couple folks reach out. There's a couple ways to obtain that paraprofessional license. There's college education. The folks can have a certain amount of hours. There's also a test folks with a high school diploma can take. And so I've actually had a couple of our elementary supervisors, they're pursuing that test. We haven't had too many folks go down that path, but there for a while, the test wasn't available during the pandemic. Testing centers weren't open, or they were very limited to the folks that could go and do it. So I had spoken with a couple of them, and they are going to take that test at MCC, and one of them's going to report back to me to let me know, what that looks like and everything. But we would encourage those folks to reach out to me. We will get ready to, when we get into July, these open positions, after we reevaluate staffing for the upcoming school year, we will get ready to post those positions. Usually in July, we start doing that when the mind shift gets into 22, 23.
Can I insert myself just for a moment? There was also a comment about curriculum adoption and putting things on display. I believe it's the law to put those curriculums on it when they're going through an adoption process. They are put on display regularly. We've never shied away from that. We've put notices out to have curriculums put on display. Whether people take advantage of that or not, it has been the practice of this district to do exactly that. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I want to make sure that that's clear, that there is a process, it does exist, and we've followed it for years.
You are 100% correct, and we engage with people regularly who have concerns about what's going on in the classroom, what their children are bringing home, and if it's tied to a curriculum or if it's a specific activity that a teacher pulls that's tied to a standard they're trying to accomplish. That's not an adopted curriculum, but it is a learning activity. We engage in those conversations regularly in our curriculum office. So if you have anything to add, I'd welcome it.
And that review period's how long?
It's 30 days
Yep.
for school code. The only other thing I would add is that the school code language was written back when everything was a textbook, and so it says literally on display, like on a table. We know that a lot of our resources that we adopt are also online resources, in which case community members can come in, request access, and we have those
sample codes that they can go ahead and look, and we'll even walk them through if they wish to see that.
Yeah,
And there's still some books too, obviously, that we could share, an actual book, but we go to great lengths to make sure folks have that available.
Right, I remember when I started as a board member, we were going through a science adoption, and it was physics.
Mhm.
Well, I happened to major in physics in undergraduate years, so yes, there's the geek moment of let's take a look at the physics book, right? It was here in the boardroom. The books that were used for that physics curriculum were here, so people could come in regularly and take a look at it back when there were textbooks, but the practice has never changed, and that's what I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, that's correct, and I appreciate you pointing that out, absolutely.
Thank you.
And the only other comment I wasn't going to, but I need to address is the comment about furries and students that are dressing as animals. You know, when you're dealing with kids who are developing and working through things, a supportive stance is a better stance than an abrupt wall, in helping them work through and develop and figure out who they are. There's a process of support there. The clarifying point that must be made, though, is our students are expected to engage with us in the learning process in human words. That expectation is clear, it's followed in all of our schools, and it's not wavered from. So while supporting a student to navigate that personalized process, because it's different for everyone, of figuring out who they are and who they want to be in terms of just coming into their own, it shouldn't be interpreted as the district endorsing or a lifestyle of whatever. We're supporting kids, and that's our charge at the bare bones basics, and it all happens at a personalized level in terms of working with families, which we do very, very closely in all of these situations, and helping students navigate. Middle school is probably the most difficult point in the process, and you know, if we're not supportive, we're going to lose them, and we have to bring them in and help them on through rather than push them away. Those practices aren't successful when you do that. So I understand we're in interesting times as a society, and you know, love and caring is going to get us through, not turning people away.
I just wanted to piggyback back though on what Mr. Troy was talking about with our curriculum being on display for 30 days. And I know it because I see it on the agenda when we're bringing up a new course, when we're changing something or adopting a new math curriculum. Can we, and not everybody looks at the agenda and goes through it or knows, you know, how to look for things. We don't bring in new materials that often throughout the year. Can we communicate, maybe blast the families that an item is out there? Can we just do something more to bring awareness so that it's, you know, front and center in someone's mind to, hey, if you want to come in and look at this, on display at the office?
Well,
I'm just thinking.
This public meeting is the process for which that happens. I mean, we all over communicate about everything as is, and a lot of the readership of the materials that we send out. Sometimes it's too much, especially these days. But it's an open meeting. This is where that business is conducted. If people are concerned about the curriculum, I would encourage them to reach out and connect with us. We'd be happy to talk to them about it at any time.
Fair enough.
Curriculum department. People in it. I'd love to hear. Okay, are you done, Ty?
I am, thank you.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Can you ask questions?
It's
Typically, no.
Yeah, it's not.
But if you hang on after me, I'm happy to speak
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, this isn't a Q&A. We're running a meeting, so we're available after the meeting to have any kind of discussion. Okay. Item 9 is the Lombard, would be the final calendar.
I've got it from Ms. Lombard. So the final calendar is in there. There's nothing nothing of major change here, but this is the final school calendar from this current school year, just finalizing some of the minor adjustments that had been made, approved by the ROE. Just need your stamp.
Not voting on it. It's for informational purpose.
Informational purposes.
Yeah, but it's being presented, so we're aware of it for the future.
And she did update, the Martin situation, the other day, in
And just for clarity, because Martin did not have, because there was one school that closed and the district itself was open, that's why we did not have to make up those days. We have to document that we use an e-learning day since we have an approved e-learning plan on file with the state.
Any questions related to the calendar? No questions there. On the 16, which is community relations and student outreach, we have our FOIA requests listed in the agenda. Is there any questions related to that discussion? If not, we can move on to item 17, building and grounds. That's the item I should have gotten. You're telling me 16.
Yeah, Mr. Rinkowski didn't give me anything unless he gave it to Mr. Altmeyer, but I don't have anything to add on here. We've been busy beavers this week with some of the solar-related projects, but there's really nothing of consequence to report on there.
Building and grounds, 18, President's Report. I'm going to take a quick second here to just, a personal note, it's graduation time. Looking forward, as always, one of the, great events we take, get to share in is the graduation night for our high schoolers and being able to hand them their diplomas. So just thinking through all that and the, our commencement ceremony that we have for 8th grade, and just thinking of the kids who are moving from 5th grade to middle school. It's all about moving on and that type of thing. And I'm just gonna share something real quick on a personal note. I attended my youngest son's college graduation this past weekend at Iowa State, and he and several other Huntley grads were graduating there. That they'd all gone to school together and here and at Iowa State. It's not so much about my son's graduation as I had the opportunity to listen to a very good commencement speaker, and I'm not really big on listening to people speak, to be honest with you. I'm usually not overwhelmed or overly impressed. I rarely at our conferences attend the speakers. But I was a captive audience on Saturday, and so I obviously listened, and I listened intently because the speaker was she was a Iowa State grad, and she is now the CEO of Land O'Lakes. Her name is Beth Ford, and she grew up in Sioux City, Iowa. Went there, was one of like 7 kids. Went to school. Did janitorial work, going through college, came from a very humble existence, put herself through, and to listen to her story and listen to how she, the message she was trying to give to the kids. You could see she was what I would call a very genuine and a very authentic person. She really was there for them and to provide them her journey, her pathway, and just there to talk about life's journey and the resiliency that's needed throughout your life's journey, as we've all experienced a lot of need for resiliency the last couple of years here, and just the development of relationships. And I just really, she spent 15 minutes, and I'll just tell you, if you want to go watch the commencement speech, it starts at the 37-minute mark. It's 15 minutes, and I found it an exceptionally well done speech. And afterwards, I got a text from my father, who was watching in Florida, asking, who was that lady? She worked, I said, from Land O'Lakes. And he said, oh, the butter people. I said, yeah, they had the butter people. It's a Fortune 200 company, okay? It's one of the biggest companies around, and she's worked her way through the ranks, and I just, you don't see a lot of women in that position. It was very admirable to listen. But again, the thing I really just got out of listening to her is her caring and how she surrounds herself with people who she wants to really know what they're about and wants their input. She doesn't care about what she thinks or has to say. She cares about everybody that's on her team, and it was really nice to hear that type of story, and just that's you know, that's the type of foundation I just would love to see our kids continue to move on throughout their journey of life, and see this country move in the direction I was listening to from this lady. So, and the other thing that struck me is I'm sitting there trying to find my kid getting his diploma amongst the 1,400 kids, and that videotape my eyes ended up being back on her in her seat as she watched every single one of those kids. She stared, and she was looking intently. She wanted to see the joy, and I could see she was very concerned about their life's journey and what their pathway was, and just was really intrigued by what their futures held. And I'm going to circle this back to what we're charged with on Saturday in handing out our diplomas, and just thinking through as we're handing those diplomas, looking in each of those students' eyes, and just thinking forward about what their future is, and just being thankful that we've tried to provide the best education to give them that foundation to move forward. So we'll move on to donations. We have the employees of the lacrosse team is extremely blessed.
Yes, they made out.
They have several donors, and we're extremely thankful. I don't know if you have anything.
No additional comments. They're listed there in the agenda. $1,600 from various groups from EdSen, and an anonymous donation, MKD Electric, donating to boys lacrosse team.
Yeah,
so thank you.
That's great. Yeah, it's great that they have that kind of support. Okay, there's no legislation committee, so we're on to item 20, which is the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like removed from consent? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gentry, can we have roll call, please?
Mrs. Nagarino. Yes. Mr. Craddy. Mr. Troy.
Yes.
Mrs. Melendi.
Yes.
Mr. Karen.
Yes.
Mr. Gentry.
Yes.
Mr. Quagliano.
Yes. Motion passes. And 21 is our action items. 21.1, the resolution reducing elementary supervisor hours. Any discussion related to this item? I addressed it earlier. Any further discussion on that matter?
Well, quick question. So that reduction was not listed in the original memo. I tried to look back, was that from last March, I think, that was not listed on there, and that's why there's some confusion about the reduction?
No, I think there may have been some confusion with the new hires. It may not have been communicated to them. I have to check with my hiring managers, but I would have to hear from them first. But from the get-go, we've kind of been in this stage for a little over 2 years, where we started slowly adding the hours on. And if you want to know where it originally started, we can go way back here. If you remember, in order to get our teachers into the buildings, we had teachers with child care concerns. We were not a daycare, we were child supervision, but we were allowing teachers in the district with school-age children. We'll really flash back here, when we were doing the hybrid, right? So they come in the morning, come in the afternoon, that presented a challenge. In order to have our teachers in, this is where, we had these hours covering. And then as Dr. Rowe referenced, that we spread the kiddos out for lunch, and then also with the testing that was taking place to escort them. But we increased the hours probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But it was under the understanding at those buildings that they would go back. Whether there was since you talked to them with our principals, but they felt like that was communicated may not have been communicated to some of our new hires this year. I apologize for that if that did not happen.
Thank you.
Anything further on this item? Not. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution, 2022-05-01 for reducing the elementary supervisor hours. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Gentry. Roll call, please.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendi?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Quagliano?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Reluctantly, yes.
Mr. Guerin?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy?
Motion passes. I will circle back and, for a second on that and just thank, as you heard the outpouring here at Public Council, yes, these people were out about it. And we appreciate every minute that they put in. It was set up that this was temporary, additional supervisory hours, and it diminished their contribution to the district. We appreciate it very much, but this was what was expected to happen after we got back to quote unquote normal. So, on to item 21.2, multi-year contract. Dr. Zier, we have a new addition.
This is a multi-year contract for Dr. Brian Slimke for the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Learning and Innovation position. No further comment on it.
Further comment? You want to tell us a little bit
You
about
want
it?
to tell them? Well, I thought maybe we do
Or
that
maybe
after
we
y'all
have a-
voted.
Okay, well, I mean, what, you worried we're going to change our mind or something? Okay.
No, we'll tell you a little bit about.
I can-
I'll tell you a little bit about Brian. Brian has been, a 12 years serving as a principal, 5 years at Caneland Harder Middle School principal, 5 years at Rotolo Middle School, the largest middle school in the state of Illinois. And then most recently, 2 years as Manuka High School principal, an 8A school that, you might remember a number of years ago, before his time, he flipped us in the playoff.
Yeah.
But we let him in the door anyway. But he has a very successful administrative career as well as a teaching career at the high school level. And his middle school and high school experience, partnered with a lot of the structures, instructionally aligned practices that he's put in place along the way, made him an attractive candidate. And then through the conversations, he clicked very well with all of us through the process. And I think he's going to be a good fit, and we're excited to welcome him to our team.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us tonight. Anybody have any questions?
A middle school bigger than Marlowe?
There's one.
There's one, and that's it.
That's it. Yep. You got it.
I guess an interesting tidbit some of you might find interesting, I believe Dr. Zwimke replaced Steve Masajewski, Rhonda's husband, at Rotolo Middle School, where he retired from. So there's a little Huntley connection in the Wayback Machine.
Okay.
Not so Wayback Machine, just a year, but
Very good.
bet Rhonda never thought she would get a call out of the board meeting.
What minute do we put that at, mark that for her?
37. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve, contract for Brian Zwimke, your contract for 2022 through 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Troy. Can we have roll call, please?
Mrs. Melendi?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Mr. Guerin?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy? Mr. Quagliano?
Yes. Motion passes. Congratulations. Please stick around so we can meet you after. Here.
Mr. Quagliano, before you move on, this is a good time to kind of chime in also. On your consent agenda, we're welcoming a new principal to Heineman Middle School. Mrs. Stephanie Mitchell is with us this evening, so we'd like to welcome Stephanie also. She is coming to us from Round Lake, where she served at a middle school over there for 2 years as principal, 3 years as an assistant principal, and then also spent some time in District 47 as a middle school teacher. So she was on your consent agenda, not a single action item, but we also want to welcome Stephanie to once again.
Yeah. Okay. 21.3, supplemental purchase orders. We have our listing of supplemental purchase order report, supplemental accounts payable. Are there any questions related to that item? Not, I'll make a motion to approve the supplemental purchase orders report and supplemental accounts payable as stated in the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Troy. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Gearan?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Quagliano?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendi?
Yes.
Mrs. Myarino? Yes. Mr. Praddy?
Okay, motion passed. Item 21.4 is the professional service agreement, International Thought Leader Network LLC for the Orange Frog Training Days and Materials. Dr. Grohl.
All right. As you will remember, last year, we brought a multi-year plan before you to talk about the implementation of our Orange Frog initiative. Began with a 2-day workshop training for our administrators that followed with a Happiness Advantage kickoff with the keynote speaker at this year's Institute Day from Sean Aker, the author of the book. Administrators have focused on bringing that positivity in the Orange Frog-based activities and celebrations throughout the year. Year 2 is set to begin, and what is laid before you tonight is year 2 and 3 of that multi-year rollout. So what this will look like is we will be training not only with our building principals, but training a group of our teachers in a train-the-trainer style workshop for a 3-day period of time, where they will become the Orange Frog experts and then deliver that training on our in-service day when we come back in August to the rest of their colleagues. There will also be a number of virtual supports as they become that, like I said, that train-the-trainer. And for this school year, we'll be focusing on Orange Frog for our staff members. The intention to begin the school year focusing on positivity, infusing that Orange Frog psychology into the culture and lifeblood of our buildings. And then in year 23-24, the third and final year of our rollout will focus on bringing the Orange Frog to the greater community of our students, parents, and guardians, and welcoming them into that orange mindset. What lies before you tonight is the contract with International Thought Leader Network for the remaining 2 years of that contract, and these dollars are coming from our ESSER III dollars, was part of the overall ARP budget that we presented to you last month.
And that's for 2 years?
Yes, it's for 2 years. The 2 remaining years of the 3-year rollout.
So first question would be, went through the first year of it, what tangible benefits do you say were derived from?
Well, I can tell you that the tangible benefits was just the concept of the positive scan. If you think about how we solve problems or when we're faced with challenges, it's very typical for us to find, okay, where's the problem in this situation? Or where's the problem in my life? Or what's not working, and attack that. And it really has reminded us to continually actions that we force ourselves to scan for the positives in our lives, the positives in the day-to-day environment or each week. And in scanning for the positive more frequently, it becomes a natural thing to automatically identify and recognize the positive in any situation, which we've kind of been trained out of that, the way society works. So it gave us, as administrators, tools for kickstarting our meetings. Cabinet, we kickstart each meeting every week with a question stem that centers around positivity. And I can tell you that as a group this year, our meetings have been more productive, more engaging, and more timely in terms of starting and finishing on time. In part, and we're adding a 15 or 20 minute component to our meeting where we're talking about the good that's going on in our life. Work and personal lives. We've seen our principals, Legees, made it a part of their practice. Their teachers who haven't even been trained yet of visiting either neighboring schools or different classrooms throughout the building with the orange bombs, joy bombs, where they just unnecessarily, for no reason whatsoever, pop in and bring some happiness to a colleague. So that is, in just year one, I'd say it's once our teachers get a hold of this, it's going to turn into, positive journaling in the classroom, where they have the students start to scan those positive moments. And it sounds simple,
Right.
but it's the act of implementing the positive psychology that is built into that training, that makes it worthwhile and justifies it, and we'll see tangible outcomes. I mean, if we just look around the districts that are in terms ahead of us in terms of years of working with this, Harvard up the road, the Schaumburg 54, raving about the impact it's had on the culture of their school and community by going down this path. So if I say scan for the positive, but this is really an integral component to our social emotional learning foundation that we're building everything off of. So it's been one of the more enjoyable trainings that I attended, and one of the trainings that I've stuck with longest, because it's a part of every meeting that we start of just little things that are easy to do that change the trajectory of how the meeting of the day goes. Step one has been a success in my book. Very excited for what our teachers are going to do when they get their hands on it. I think our kids are going to start to really experience a different level of positivity in the classroom. If anyone else has ideas on my team, our team, welcome you.
So, I know we've seen success, like you said, among teachers and the staff in the buildings. What will be the measure for success for students in terms of social emotional learning? How will we, what will be, is there a benchmark for something, so what we're going to see as to whether or not this is working in the classrooms for kids?
So yes, next year, we're gonna start the formal training for the teachers. Part of the program is to have a pre-survey, like a pre and post survey about how this has an impact in the life of the teachers, in their personal life and in the work life. And then the third year, where we're gonna definitely go with our students and with our parents and guardians, we have now the different data like BASC, so we will definitely can align the BASC data with some teacher perception and the surveys to have just an idea of how this is impacting our students.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the presentation from III a few years ago, and it was very positive. So, like I said, I just wanted to see how we're going to incorporate that, with the students, and making sure that it's incorporated, and that they're following along with it and buying into it and gaining from it.
Yes, and Dr. Rose said the teachers are being incorporated that, but without the formal training. So that's, they're very excited about it. Next year is going to be the training, and we want to build capacity in our own teachers to be the trainer of trainers. So it's going to be a year-long journey when they are going to have virtual support for our teachers. And most of the teachers, the principals, assistant principals, or the teachers are going to be part of this trainer of trainer group, are also the teachers that are very involved with our social emotional initiatives.
Now, I'll also just add from experience, kids learn from people that they care about and that they know care about them. And there's not going to be a test or there'll be some survey data that's going to say this is successful, this has not been successful. But what we expect to see is an increased level of engagement from our students, because they're spending time finding what makes them happy about their life and what good is going on and what they can do for others to make their day better, that connects them with the classroom, and the classroom becomes one of those happy places where they're thinking about what makes them happy. And a simple thing like that, I can tell you that from 4 years in this job, in this role, and 4 years attending cabinet, we're more productive after doing this. And that shouldn't be a problem for us. We're all highly educated, highly motivated, professionals. But I can tell you this is focusing us. And if it's focusing us, bringing our kids, I fully expect, our kids are going to be more connected to school, which is what we're lacking right now. So your teachers are going to say, what's our biggest area of need? It's increased focus on academic behaviors, and academic behaviors and care about success. There's a direct link to this. Unfortunately, it's not going to be measured by some form of an assessment. You'll have to see it in qualitative data and how our students are responding. I do expect we will, and like I said,
And again, I realize it's not gonna happen overnight.
Oh, sure.
I'm not out in left field, and I understand it's gonna be a process. I just wanted to see what we were, what were some of the benchmarks or the things that we were, like you said, you were looking for, and you said it's that mainly focusing in on the classroom, not having that distracted learning, being present and feeling good about being there, and then being able to take advantage of what is being taught and brought to them in the classroom, so.
And Dr. Rowe, in addition to that, when we've talked to some districts who have implemented this at the student level, they've seen an increase in students attending school. And it's normally those students that maybe won't make a huge change on our overall attendance rate, but the ones who aren't coming frequently, they feel more comfortable and they want to be here because they're just in a better spot. So while it's not another, data point that you'll see there, there's another way that people see the impact on the district.
Right, but those are visual, areas of, just noticing whether or not this is working, in a benchmark. So it's little things like that, as opposed to like that formal, well, we're gonna meet 85% or this or that. I'm just seeing that. Thank you.
Any other questions on this agenda item?
Just I guess a quick voice of support of the topic for myself is, I did sit through that training as well. And I think the key is where it's a lot of just common sense in a way, but I think the key to the program is how do you institutionalize it and make it kind of an unconscious part of every day and seeing the benefits of that. And it's something that it's intangible, but I think that type of, from a student standpoint, that type of inspiration, support, confidence, that's all intangible and very hard to measure, but if you're successful in instilling those three things, a lot of other things become much more possible. So I do support this and see it carry forward.
Any further? Okay. That, motion to approve the professional services agreement, International Thought Leader Network LLC for the Orange Frog Training Days and material as presented in the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Gentry. Can we have roll call?
Mrs. Melendi?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mrs. Maiorino?
Yes.
Mr. Guerin?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Quagliano?
Yes.
Mr. Craddy?
Passes. 22 is adjournment. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:51. Second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Melendi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.